Hey everybody, I'm Joe Bushnell and I am running for re-election to the Tacoma City Council District 5. We are actually right here at the intersection of 56 and Pacific. Coming over into this side of Pacific is going into District 5. So we're going to be riding Route 1, also known as Stream. We'll be going through the district and having some great conversations. Yeah, Streets Initiative 2, obviously, it was really disappointing to see it not pass through the voters this year. I was a really big proponent and supporter of it. We have a lot of safety issues and concerns throughout the district, and Streets Initiative 2 is going to really help with road maintenance as well as identifying areas that could use a significant improvement, especially as it comes to pedestrian accessibility as well as bike lanes and things of that nature. I'm very supportive of something going ahead in the future as well. We'd have to obviously rethink some of the scope and things of that the community would like to see in that. I think it's pretty clear that voters really do feel that streets are important to the city of Tacoma, and we just need to find a way to make sure that we're coming together to get a package together that will meet the needs of as many people as possible. Yeah, I think accidents and serious injuries are entirely avoidable. A lot of them have to do with how road infrastructure is created and maintained, but also drivers paying attention. A lot of those are actually, um, you know, not necessarily malfunctions of the vehicle. It's the drivers themselves that, or pedestrians or whoever's involved. There's some sort of human error involved, and a lot of those things can actually be worked out. And particularly in the South End and South Tacoma area, we have a lot of areas that lack infrastructure, like sidewalks, safe sidewalks, for example. I really want to prioritize areas around schools, to make sure kids are able to get to schools safely. I have a lot of kids that still walk on the street when they're trying to go to school, and we also need to make sure that we're finishing out our sidewalk network everywhere else as well, which I think helps contribute to that. I think real change in our design philosophy, especially around engineering when it comes to roads, is going to be really important. That's where I really support Vision Zero and the projects and scopes of what they're trying to change for the entire city. Historically, it's always been about how can we get people from A to B as quickly as possible. We really should be thinking about how can we get from A to B as safely as possible. Shaving off a few seconds off of someone's commute, I think, is well worth the saving people from death or serious injury. Yeah, there is a lot of need out there, and it costs a lot of money. The way I think about it is maybe prioritization of projects based on the highest safety needs, particularly around our schools. I want to make sure that our kids are able to get to schools and access them safely. But then from there, I also think about public spaces like parks and the safety and accessibility of those neighborhood community nodes. And then as funding becomes available and we work with our state and federal partners, I really also look at some of our larger infrastructure projects. We have some great successes with our Streets Initiative $1, where we're able to work on East 64th and South 64th Street. That's really a great example of what a complete street could look like for other areas of the city. We're actually working on a very large infrastructure project on Sheridan Avenue currently that's going to help with the accessibility to Wapato Park. And it's going to create those much needed safety connections from the neighborhood into the park areas. It's really important that we work with our community to identify and search for funding for those different projects. And I'm really looking forward to hopefully supporting a Streets Initiative 2 that the community can get behind and see themselves reflected in the priority of those projects. It's really important also that we work with our state legislators and federal delegation to recognize the importance of our safe streets all across the city, and increase that federal funding and state funding to support these projects, because we're not going to be able to do it alone as a city because there's a lot of need out there. We're going to take a little bite out of it bit by bit and make sure we're supporting safety infrastructure across the city equitably. Yeah, I think that the city has a really important role in supporting public transportation, and I would be supportive of going out to the voters and asking them for the opportunity to increase the service availability for Pierce Transit. I do know that a lot of folks are feeling pretty taxed out with the government and the level of services that they expect. But we also want to make sure that we are maintaining the services that we have, but also increasing the service availability across the entire Pierce Transit area. Ultimately, it's going to be up to the voters to decide on whether that's something that they're willing to take. But I think it's really important for us to support it, especially considering our growth targets for Tacoma as well as the larger county area. Transit going to be more and more vital every single day for people to get around. And it's really important that we have transit that's not just commuter focused, going up to Seattle, for example, but also being able to easily go to the grocery stores or visit a friend's house in a timely fashion. Yeah, so there's a couple of places that have been really high priority for me. Pacific Avenue specifically, which we're on right now. That's part of why I'm supporting the Fisher Pack Ave sub-area planning. We're expecting a significant amount of growth in this area. We need to make sure that we have a really safe road here for people to utilize in whatever mode that they want to move around in, whether that's walking, riding the bus, or riding a bike. We also have along the Hosmer corridor, I introduced in the transportation improvement plan, a corridor study to be done for that area. That's another high, very fast area that needs a lot of support. As well as on the South Tacoma side, we recently did our South Tacoma neighborhood plan. I'm really supportive of trying to find ways to rethink about the infrastructure down there. So again, people can access the different services and amenities in a safe manner in a way that they would like. The South Tacoma Business District is very walkable, but it can be much safer. We do have a lot of speeding and accidents that occur, especially along 56 and South Tacoma Way, and a lot of other areas in South Tacoma, South Puget Sound as well. So I think that there's a lot for us to do, but those are kind of my big focused areas in the immediate term. But we obviously need to do a lot of work all across the district. And that's why I'm really proud of the work we've done on 64th Street, as well as the work we're currently doing on Sheridan, and a lot of the other work that we're doing around the district to improve accessibility, ADA accessibility in our neighborhoods. And then we also have a lot of missing link sidewalks that can't be neglected. My goals are to make sure that everybody can get to wherever they need to be as safely as possible in a manner in which they would like to get there. Not everybody drives a vehicle. There's many people that are blessed to be able to do that, but we do have a lot of folks with mobility issues, and we want them to be able to get where they need to be safely and effectively as well. I think it's really important that we have robust sidewalk networks throughout our entire city, particularly in our area where there's missing links. We also make sure that the ADA ramps are also accessible, as well as making sure that bicyclists also have an opportunity to ride along the road safely as well. Especially in the summertime, I see tons of cyclists everywhere. I do often hear from folks, "Oh, I never see cyclists." They're out there, but a lot of them tend to ride in residential streets or residential side streets. So you won't necessarily see them on the main streets because of how unsafe it is. We really need to find ways to make sure that people are able to ride around safely, and then the mode of transportation is changing a little bit. We have a lot of people on scooters. We have a lot of people on electric bikes. We have a lot of people on those little two-wheeled, like standy-uppy things. I don't know what they're called, like hoverboards kind of things. But yeah, so there's a lot of ways that people like to move around, and we want to make sure that everybody can do that safely.